Hello, and welcome to Auditions 6 of AGT Time. Cody Patterson here, along with.
Along with Jay Bach, ready to talk about some interesting acts, some air guitar, some magic, some comedy, some uh, non-traditional instruments being taken a spot on the stage. I'm pretty excited about what we got tonight.
Okay, well, we'll get into that because I've got some thoughts as well on this week's episode. But first, we're going to take care of some business. So, if you want to reach out to us, you're more than welcome to reach out on all the social medias. We're pretty much on every one of them. We're on Twitter at AGT Time. I'm on there at Cody L. Patterson. Jay's on there at One Man Bander. We're on Facebook, AGT Cast, and you can also send us an email, agtcast@gmail.com. We'd also appreciate it if you left us a comment and rate and review out on iTunes. If you leave us a 5-star review, we may send you through to the next round. We'd love to see you go on. We'd love to see our listeners go on to the next round. That seems like a lot of fun. Also, we started a PayPal a while back, just to kind of help us out. If you want to send a donation to us, we'd appreciate that. Just kind of help us out paying for the hosting and some other things. We do this on the side. It's not our full time job, so just we pay for this out of pocket. So anything you can do to help us out would be greatly appreciated.
Yes, and we appreciate all our listeners and every bit of uh, community and conversation that you guys start up with us is a lot of fun. So keep it coming. Tell us what you like, what you don't like, what questions you have, and we'll do our best to make it a good time for you.
Well, Jay, before we get into this week's episode, we have some scheduling information from AGT.
Yeah, let's talk about that. It seems like this year, unprecedented times, as everybody says, has led to a sort of mix-up or a stretching of the AGT schedule. So we had just auditions 6 here this week, and we know that there's going to be 7 weeks of auditions, but there's I think an episode next week as well. So it's a little bit of confusion as to what we're going to see next week and the following week for auditions. Um, and in the preview for what to look forward to, it looked like there might be some of the show must go online. Uh, Maybe they're going to turn that into a TV episode. Uh, since it's already kind of produced and they're wanting to stretch this season well into the fall. What are your thoughts?
Well, and looking back at last year's schedule, we had 6 weeks of audition, and then we did a best of auditions right before audition 6. It seemed like at the end, during the preview, they said, in 2 weeks. Then they also teased this show must go online, and then there's been some articles being posted, and some people have talked about 7 weeks of auditions. There might be 8 weeks of auditions. Some things that we do know for sure is that Judge Cuts is going to happen on July 28th. That is on the schedule. And according to Deadline.com, it looks like it's going to be 1 week of Judge Cuts. Typically, we have several weeks of Judge Cuts. Last season, we had 2 weeks of Judge Cuts. They're going to do just 1 week this time and try to cut everything down as much as possible. Then they're going to look at doing the live shows starting on August 11th, which seems a lot later than what we've seen in the past.
Yeah. So to back up, we've got auditions on just this last Monday, auditions on the coming Monday, July 7th, 14th, and then the 21st was going to be a auditions highlights. Right. So we've got 1, 2, 3 more weeks of auditions and then judge cuts at the very end of July. And then August 4th, we said there's going to be like an anniversary special before we start the live shows the following week on August 11th. So we've got, like, boy, just it feels like a lot of chaff here between now and live shows.
Yeah, we're still 6 weeks away from 5 or 6 weeks away from live shows, and it seems like it should be right around the corner. But they're still figuring out a lot of things. They stopped production for a while they were trying to figure out what they were going to do, but they ramped back up production. So they're just trying to fill a lot of time right now, and I'm not sure where they're getting all this content from, because they surely have way more content than we have, Jay.
Oh man, yeah. So there's a week of audition highlights, a week of a 15th anniversary special, 1 week of judge cuts, and not two for some reason. I don't know why they wouldn't go ahead and stretch that out, but um, and again, we keep saying it'll be curious to see what they're going to do about these live shows. How are those going to look? How are those going to feel? How's that going to be done? And August is a long time away. Maybe it's not going to be as weird as it feels like it would have to be right now. I don't know.
Yeah, it seems like 5 6 weeks. It seems like a long way, but I'm sure it'll be here before we know it. One of these articles mentioned that they were recording in the Simi Valley Theater, which they said is like a giant outdoor record or filming area,
Oh, really?
where the judges could spread out, be 6 feet apart. They have their own director's chairs. They're taking a lot of precautions as far as separating all the acts from each other, making sure that microphones aren't being shared. So
Hmm.
they're sounds like they're taking a lot of precautions, um, uh, and to get ready for judge cuts and live shows.
Yeah, yeah. And if they're able to do live shows outside somehow, that would certainly be a way to make it more safe. So, um, yeah, I guess I'll leave it up to them to know what they plan to do, how they plan to do it. But it is going to be curious to see how this all goes down. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing. It's a lot of curiosity, a lot of speculation. I think the fun part of this season is just not knowing what's going to happen. What imagination, what imaginative ideas did they come up with in order to pull off this season?
Yeah, yeah, certainly. Well, yeah, I guess yeah, we can speculate all we want, but until we have answers, it's just us kind of speculating and spitting. So, um, let's maybe speculate a little bit about the acts that we do know
Yeah,
from just this last episode here on Monday, on the 30th of June. The first act of the night was the CA Wildcats from Plano, Texas. You grew up in Texas. Are you familiar with the Wildcats?
I'm not familiar with the Wildcats themselves, but I am familiar with Plano, and Plano is in the geographical area of, if you remember from last season, South Lake Carroll, the Emerald Bells.
Oh yeah, the
So
high kickers.
the high kickers, yeah. So they're all kind of in that same area. Now they don't really compete against each other because the Emerald Bells is a high school high kick dance team, whereas the Wildcats are more of a cheerleading club that competes against other cheerleading clubs.
Yeah, that's interesting. I think of cheerleading in their historic context as the people on the sidelines cheering for a team, but in the last, I'm sure, more than 20 years or more, it's become more of a competition in and among itself instead of a what it started as is cheering for the other athletes on the field or on the court or wherever. So um yeah, interesting group of people. Their ages, what, 13 to 30 or so.
Something like that. At first I thought he said 35, and I was like, wow, that's right inside Jay's window. I bet Jay could get out there and do something.
Yeah,
But no,
huh.
no, it was 30, so it's a little bit younger than the both of us.
Yeah. For what it's worth, the act itself, there wasn't much that stood out to me. I made a note of when there was about seven of the guys, had one arm held up, and they each held one lady who was standing on top of their hands. But otherwise, it was a lot of throws and tumbling passes and general gymnastics kind of stuff, compared to other acts like this that we've seen, dance, cheerleading, tumbling troops. It felt pretty mediocre, average to above average, for what we'd see on America's Got Talent. Um, it was fine. What'd you think of the Wildcats?
So as far as these cheerleading and tumbling groups go, I mean, I'm always impressed with what they do. They're skilled athletes, and
Yes.
I've always been on the side that cheerleading is a sport. I know there's a big argument out there of whether cheerleading is a sport, and I've always been on the side that it is. The amount of training that these people go through, the skill that it takes to do what they do, the injuries that they get from these types of the activities that these people participate in, that it's definitely a sport, and it's always impressive of what they can do. Now if you turn on ESPN a couple of times a week, you're going to see these cheerleading competitions.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
as far as America's Got Talent goes, this is not unique. It's impressive of what these people can do, but it's not unique to America's Got Talent. I think you could pull any of these cheerleading teams into America's Got Talent, and they'd probably be able to do the same types of things. I do enjoy watching them, but as far as America's Got Talent goes, I would prefer to see other types of acts.
Yeah, yeah, and I wouldn't ever question their athleticism. They are definitely athletes. If you group sports into objective and subjective scoring, like I prefer the points to be scored by the athletes, not by the judges. It's how beautiful can you do this thing? How in sync can you do this thing? Is a different kind of scoring methodology than get the ball in the hoop or pass the line or in the goal or whatever the sport you're playing. So for what it's worth, yeah, absolutely, really strong, really in sync group of athletes there. So um, did you notice they were making a symbol with their hands? It looked like kind of an OK symbol, but like an open between their thumb and their forefinger. They were holding that up over their eye. Did you see that?
I did see that, and I thought maybe that was kind of their symbol for their team.
Yeah. So my high school mascot was the Wildcats, and
Oh,
that was the
okay.
thing that the cheerleaders would do. With that, you've got a W out of the three fingers and a C out of the thumb and your first finger, your index finger. So it's not them like miming a monocle or you know, my broken binoculars or anything. It was a a W and a C that they make out of their hands. So uh,
Mr. Peanut, and the Monopoly Man are not their mascots.
no, no, it's just a W and a C for Wildcats. So I caught that. I wondered if other people would. Just a thing, I guess, that I noticed. So
Yeah, I only noticed it on my second viewing. I didn't really notice on the first one, and I think the shot that they did it was more from the back. I didn't notice that they did it that you were able to see it from a front shot. So it was kind of a quick thing.
yeah, it seemed. I saw it. I think before they performed and after they performed, a couple people were flashing their telescope monocle symbol. So, but there you go. So Sophia said, "Wow, that was amazing. So synchronized and beautiful. You were so happy to be up there. I loved it." Howie said, "Let me just say something. Cheerleading has become a sport in itself. It's more dangerous than the actual sports they're cheering for. I love you." Eric said, "You are just affirmation that cheerleading is not just an appetizer. You're a main course." And then Simon said, "There's nothing more exciting than a group of people who are talented. I can see the ambition and the steel in your eyes. I think the audience is going to love you guys." So, four yeses from the judges. I was generally underwhelmed by the Wildcats. It's not the kind of act that I love. Um, if you're not going to be bigger, stronger, faster, higher, this felt like a pretty good dance group.
Yeah, they did throw those girls pretty high up in the air though.
I think it just appeared so because it was slow motion.
Okay, yeah,
It,
the AGT and their fascination with the slow mo.
it doesn't hurt when they move slow mo. It makes
Yeah,
them look like they're flying in the air just that much longer.
yep. So Sophia mentioned that there's no audience. What did you think of the no audience?
Um, Boy, I felt like we still got a lot of time looking at the judges' reactions, but less time looking at the audience reactions, instead of seeing what the act was actually doing. I'd love to have just a 90-second, 2-minute long steady shot from high in the center of the balcony to see what they're doing on the stage instead of flashing over here, flashing over there, slow motion. Like, just give me the act for
Yes,
Pete's sake.
yeah, yeah. Well, in about 5 or 6 weeks, we'll get that. So
Yes, yes,
yes,
it's coming.
yes,
It's coming.
yeah,
Okay. Second act of the night. We ready to talk about Jacob Velasquez?
yes.
He is a young 12-year-old from Pembroke Pines, Florida. He is a pianist. Going to give us his original song. First, he's going to show the judges his vision board. Are you familiar with vision boards?
I've heard of a vision board. I've never done one personally, but I'm aware of the concept of the vision board.
All right. The concept is you put on there, what sort of future you want to have. You imagine it into existence, right? That's kind of the idea.
Okay, sounds good. I mean,
So yeah, he's got his vision board. It's him and the judges, and he's going to be on America's Got Talent. And he talks to them about how he has a disability. It's kind of like autism or um, uh, Asperger's syndrome. It kind of feels like Cody Lee's story, right? I take things very literally, but he has a way of communicating through music. And so he starts playing piano, and it's this soaring piano music, and it does feel very emotional. Like he's able to actually express something through hitting the keys on the keyboard that he just can't quite convey with language. Um, and then he finishes his piece on the piano. He runs behind a curtain on the stage, and as the curtain pulls away, we see him playing drums, and he's spinning the sticks, and he's throwing them, and doing all the tricks that drummers do when they drum. Um, it was kind of fun. Maybe a little bit disjointed between the two pieces. It was not a uh, particularly fluid transition between the two, but sure looked like he was having fun. What'd you think of old Jacob?
his piano technique is fantastic. He really can play the piano. I think Howie mentioned that he considers him a prodigy. Uh, I thought the piano playing is fantastic, but I thought the song choice was a little slow. Yes, it was emotional. I think he was trying to express that emotion, but I felt that if you're, afterwards, I didn't think this when he was playing, but afterwards, that if you're going to do this drum piece, I can see where he's wanting the dynamic between the two, but would
Yes.
like to have heard a piano piece that was a little more upbeat. I would like to see kind of that technique in his fingers instead of the slow emotional song. When he got over to the drumming, we we kind of had this surprise because it was behind a curtain. So there was a little bit of a delay of him having to put on his headphones and get his sticks ready. And then they pulled away the curtain to reveal the drums. Um, the drum playing with the backtrack that he was playing with didn't quite mash up. It felt like the drumming was a little bit longer or a little bit louder than the
The backing
backtrack.
track,
So
yeah.
it didn't. It felt like it didn't belong together.
Yeah, yeah. And I think he was probably trying to highlight the range of this soaring, soft, beautiful piano music and the hard rock, blast you, throw your hair back kind of drum playing. So I'm sure his goal was to be as uh, different between those two as he could be, which I'd say he did successfully, but at what cost? Does um, the disjointedness feeling of it hurt or help his case, I guess, overall as a musician. So
Yeah, I feel that he may have revealed too much too early. If he did, if he'd done a great piano piece this time, or done a great drum solo this time, and then held on to the other one for the next round, it would have broadened his range a little bit more. But he kind of did both things in this. He did both things in auditions, but then didn't tie them together very well.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
How would you compare his drumming? I think I mentioned in the second week of auditions that this is the year of the drummer.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
how would you compare his drumming with Malik Dope Drummer? And I know it was a group, but Divas and Drummers of Compton.
Okay, Malik, he danced while he played, and he was good. I don't know that he was really the very best kind of drummer that we've seen on this show, but he's certainly talented. Second group you said was the Drummers
D-
and Divas of Compton.
yep.
They're also good, not something that we see a lot of on the show. Um, yeah, I'd give the edge to Malik. I think
Okay.
his talent exceeded the Drummers and Divas of Compton. Their enthusiasm might have exceeded his, though. And boy, in comparison then to uh, to what was his name? Jacob,
Jacob.
not
Yeah.
Jordan. Jacob. Uh, you know, he gets those points for being 12. He gets those points for also playing piano. But I think my edge is going to go to Malik as my favorite of those three. Um, man, let's put Jacob as third and Drummers and Divas of Compton as number two by a hair.
Okay.
Um, they're more of a whole show, I think, but it's not to say that Jacob's not entertaining. He's going to be fun to watch on the show, I think.
Yeah, I think I would flip Divas and Drummers with Jacob. I'd have Jacob at number two. I think Malik kind of has a bigger package with more he can do. He's more trained. It seems Jacob's more naturally skilled than the others. But I think as far as entertainment value, it would be for me Malik, then Jacob, and like you say, Divas, but they're kind of real close together.
Real close, yeah.
Yeah.
Good. All right. Did we say judges' comments for them? Sophia said, I thought it was spectacular and surprising. It was beautiful and romantic at the piano. Then it was so much fun. Howie said, you're like a prodigy, but I was bowled over by the piano. Eric said, I don't play piano, but I do play the drums. The tone and dynamics on the piano were amazing. And then over to the drums, incredible. Simon said, you have this amazing kind of aura about you. Prodigy is the word I was thinking. People really have the hard work combined, rarely have the hard work combined with the showmanship. So high praise from the judges, 4 yeses, of course. He's got, like you said, the hard work, the showmanship, the natural ability, a really great foundation for him to do well. It'd be interesting to see if he does make it past quarterfinals. I'd say that's probably his peak.
Yeah, I mean, he may make it. Yeah, he's going to get to quarterfinals, but he may get eliminated from there unless he really shows something. I mean, if he pulls out a really great piano song, I don't know if he can sing along with the piano playing. So it'd be interesting to kind of see what he does there. Simon also had the comment, this is one of my favorite auditions of the year so far.
Yeah.
I would love to keep a counter of how many times Simon has said that.
Oh boy, yeah. Uh, you know, uh, each act has the potential of being better than the last one, and the
I guess
more acts
so.
you see, the more opportunities there's going to be to say this is the best one so far.
I guess so.
So,
I guess so.
uh, Yeah, and yeah, how many times is it the best one of the night or the best one, instead of the best one of the
Of the
season? It's,
yes.
but yeah, no, that is interesting. So maybe if somebody goes back and watches the auditions up before quarterfinals, we can get a counter on that. Somebody keep a clicker. We'll see. All right, you ready for our third act of the night?
Yo.
A gentleman named Michael Yo, stand-up comedian. He is, I guess he had worked as a reporter and had interviewed each of the judges individually, independently. But he quit his job as a reporter and he became a comedian. This is now his life's work, is making people laugh. What do you think of Michael Yo?
So I think we've talked many times about in previous seasons where judge cuts didn't have an audience, how hard it is for comedians, and I,
Yes.
I think we finally saw, yes, it's hard for comedians when all you're performing to is four people sitting directly in front of you. Now the judges are laughing, whether they're actually finding the jokes funny or if it's more of a um, uh, what's the word I'm looking for? Trying to be nice to him.
Yeah,
Uh,
courtesy laughs.
Courtesy laugh. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's courtesy laugh. That's it's kind of easy to tell if the judges are just courtesy laughing or if they actually find it funny. When I love comedians. I love good comedians, but I get a lot of I find things more funny when other people are able to laugh along with it. Um, so in this 2 minutes that they get to do their act, it's hard for me to get into the mode of laughing at these comedians. Yes, I recognize that they are funny and they might be telling good jokes, but for me, it's just hard to get in that mode when there's no audience. And I think it was at this point where I started to realize that the audience brings a lot more to this show than we really think they do. We sometimes think that the audience gets on our nerves, but at the same time, we're starting to see that the audience is a vital part of America's Got Talent.
Yeah, and that is interesting to think about that. His set itself consisted of a lot of jokes about how he's getting older, and when you are in your 40s or past the age of 35 or so, the world changes. Reminded me a lot of Ty Barnett's set last week. He's the one who said. You can tell you're getting older because you start rooting against the teens in the Scary Movie. Very much the same uh, theme of his jokes. The post 35, dad, kind of age.
Yep.
Like that. That's their audience. Not as old as who is the 80-year-old Marty Ross
Yes.
with his peanut allergy jokes. So make sure I spit that out correctly.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, he had really good material. Talked about how when you're over 35 you wake up and you feel like somebody beat the crap out of you overnight. Talked about how us older guys, we do sleep math, and he explained that okay, if the show starts at 8, it'll be over at 10, and then it'll be out of there at 10:45. I'll get home at 11:30 and shower, and boy, I won't be till bed. And then the kids wake up at 5. I'm only going to get 4.5 hours of sleep. And like, I'm guilty.
Yeah.
I've done sleep
Oh,
math before. Yeah,
yes. Yeah. And
not.
I'll a lot of times I'll do reverse sleep math. I'll look at what I've got to do tomorrow and back up. Okay, I need to be at work at 7, so that means I need to get up at this time, which means I need to go to bed at this time, which means I need to have dinner. Or okay, now we got to do the podcast. So okay, so I'm more of what do I have to do, and then I back it up to that. So yeah, I can definitely relate to this.
Yeah. So that's the theme of his show. Pretty good material. Really engaging. Big smile. Good energy on the stage. I'd say his ability to get the judges engaged with him is not to be taken for granted. He really was comfortable uh, on the stage. talking to them, talking to only them. I liked him a lot. So
Yeah.
Howie said, your rhythm, your voice, your passion is great. You're lovable and relatable and likable. You've made the right choice. Talking about no longer being a reporter and now going to comedy. Simon said, I love your story and your attitude. I think it was a fantastic audition. Eric said, get busy living your dreams. You nailed it. And Sophia said, I want to give you a hug, but this virus. So 4 yeses from the judges. He's going through. Michael Yo, I like him. So of those 3 comedians I mentioned, Michael and Ty and Marty, how do you rank those 3?
Um, it's hard for me to rank Michael because he didn't have the advantage of having the audience, and I think that's a big part of it. Um, but if I have to, I would have to kind of put him at the bottom. Unfortunately, because I think the audience has a lot to do with it.
Okay.
And then I would probably put Marty. I'd put Marty at the top, and then I think I would put Ty number 2.
Ty number 2. That's fair. That's fair. It's a hard, it, like I said about sports, subjective and objective. Like this, what's more subjective than us ranking comedians? It's certainly not fair. And what one person likes, another person may not. It was interesting that both Michael and Ty sort of hit that same theme of middle age, like your body starts changing and things hurt that you didn't know were going to hurt, and da 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 da. So
Yeah.
that was kind of an interesting comparison between those 2, at least.
Now another one you forgot was Usama.
Oh yeah,
Usama
yeah.
Sadiq. I'd probably put him number 1, and then Marty,
Oh,
um,
interesting. Okay.
and then Ty, and then there was what was her name? Christine Hurley.
Yes. Yep.
Yes. Even though she was eliminated, I thought she did great for 2 minutes until she had her little fumble. But I'd probably put her in that list as well. And I thought she did great. She was great until she had her little fumble. And I would probably even put her above Michael right now. Now
Ooh,
this may
wow.
change. Yeah, it's really hurting him because I had trouble laughing without the audience. I need that group laughter. I can't just laugh at it by myself.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Interesting. I think I'm able to, like, a lot of the TV shows I like, The Office, Parks and Rec, like that sort of style, Arrested Development, where there is no laugh track. It's just
right.
uh, letting the comedy be kind of raw and uncomfortable. Like
Yeah,
I prefer that kind of television over a sitcom with the laugh track and uh, set up the joke
yeah,
and the punchline,
yeah.
pause for laughter.
Yeah.
Like it's just so I don't appreciate that kind of comedy as much.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
maybe I'm maybe a little more willing to sit in the uncomfortable pauses, or I don't like to listen to a laugh track. So for what it's worth, maybe that's something that I've sort of trained myself to not mind. I don't know. Interesting.
Well, then maybe I suggest there's this wonderful show that just ended in May that stars one of our wonderful judges that you might want to check out because it does not have a laugh track, and it's very similar to that. So
Okay. All right. I've yet to even watch one episode, let alone all of them. So, all right. All right. Well, I'm getting closer to trying
off
it.
off
How about
off
that?
off season podcast.
Oh, there you go. Okay. All right. Good stuff. Next act of the night. I'm excited about this one. We got the Brothers Gage. They are a harmonica duo. Brody and Alex are their names. I didn't get where they're from, but they say they also play other instruments and sing. They list guitar, keyboards, bass, drum, singing. But tonight it's going to be a harmonica duet. What did you think of Brothers Gage?
So in their interview, if you notice, I mean, they talked about they said I think hundreds of harmonicas in different keys and for different purposes. And if you notice, they kind of had a little belt that they wore that
Hmm.
had harmonicas in them. So these kids take it seriously. They love them some harmonica.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and
Well,
when you kind of
so I was doing the math in my head, right?
okay,
There's 12 different keys that you would play a harmonica in,
okay,
because they're set up harmonically. They don't really. You want to have one for each key because things come up, right? And then you probably have one for each of them, so you're doubling that to 24, and then you need a backup for each of them because sometimes reeds bend or things go wrong, or you prefer one over another. So you're doubling that to 96 of them anyhow. It's pretty easy to get into the hundreds of harmonicas when you got two harmonica players that take it seriously.
yeah, and they could have different designs on them or different colors or you know
Yeah, and let's not to mention chromatic harmonicas and things set up in minor keys, or ones where you can overblow, or there's all sorts of unique things that happen with harmonicas, an
could,
echo harmonica or a bass harmonica.
yeah,
So
I was wondering if you could have them in different octaves.
yes,
Okay.
bass harmonicas are actually very expensive, but yeah, there's those, and then there are um, like little tiny harmonicas, like a keychain size harmonica, which would play in a higher octave as well. But yeah, I've talked too much about harmonicas, but point is, having 100 harmonicas isn't terribly difficult if you take harmonica seriously.
Yes, and it sounds like they do, and it sounds like they're musically trained in other things, which gives them a slight advantage. It sounds like they got a wide range of talents that they've got here, which can
Hmm.
be which can be very useful in the upcoming rounds. And going into it, when they came out and they mentioned that they were going to play the harmonica, all the judges, if you kind of looked at if you saw the look on their all the judges' faces, they weren't for sure about this. They're like, "Is this going to be
No,
hokey? Is this going to be real corny?" Uh, Simon looked nonplussed about it, but it turned out these kids are actually pretty good with the harmonica.
they are. They did an original song that was really pretty impressive song. It had sort of a like chugging train sort of feel to it, which is
Mhm.
pretty traditional for what you might hear from a harmonica. The train whistle and the chugga 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 sort of feel to it. But they play off each other well. You can tell that they get along really well, that they have they can glance at each other and know where they're going or where the other one's going, and they're really in sync in their music. So um I, I enjoyed the heck out of this as a harmonica player myself. um these guys are good, and they're fun to watch. I really hope to see them play at least a couple more times.
Yeah, and they did an original song, and we're starting to see more and more original songs from singers and instrumentalists. But I think I would like to have heard something I'm familiar with for some reason. I don't know what it was. I just think it'd been a lot of fun to kind of hear something I'm familiar with played through the harmonica.
Sure. Yeah. That's fair. It can be hard, right? You have
Yeah,
to um, kind of translate a song into what the harmonica is capable of, and that can be difficult. But it also can be awesome, right? It can be a lot of
yeah.
fun to see somebody do something unique like that. So Sophia said at the beginning, I was dreading it, but you made it exciting. Simon said, young guys doing this is pretty amazing, and I like the track that wasn't overproduced, and the likability factor is ginormous. So they did play with a backtrack. It sounded like a drum beat, really, that all they were playing with. It wasn't really,
Mhm.
um, uh, you know, it wasn't something that they were hiding behind. It was only supporting them. So
Yeah, no,
uh,
they were playing the melody and the harmony.
yeah,
Yeah,
they
yeah,
were all of it. So
yeah.
Eric said it was great. I love the choreography, the dueling aspect of the performance. The kind of call and answer and response. he liked that. He said, I think the sky's the limit. Howie said, we always talk about surprises. And before tonight, I thought harmonica was one of the most annoying instruments ever invented. Then Simon chimed in and said, no, the flute. Sophia said, no, the ukulele. Eric said, the accordion. And Howie said, you made it so entertaining and amazing. I think we've only seen the beginning. So most annoying instrument, harmonica, flute, ukulele, or accordion?
It has to be the accordion. Flute. The flute is not that annoying. The flute's a wonderful instrument. If the harmonica is played correctly, as these kids did, it can be a fantastic instrument. The ukulele. I'm surprised that one of our judges said that the ukulele was one of the most annoying instruments, considering an AGT champion is a ukulele player, and we have another ukulele player on this season. So
Yeah.
I can't believe those words came out of her mouth. She needs to check on her AGT history. So it has to be the accordion.
Yeah, that's funny. Like sometimes I will get my instruments out and I'll play around with the kids, and I don't know how to play the flute or the accordion, but I did just on Monday have out the flute, or it was on Tuesday actually. Yeah, I had out my flute and my accordion, and the kids were messing around. I have a ukulele. I play the harmonica regularly. Like it's like, oh no, is this what people think of me? Am I that annoying guy? I don't know. Uh, but no, I making music's fun. These guys looked like they had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I really am looking forward to seeing more of them. So that is Brothers Gage. The next act of the night. You ready to talk about Siobhan
Yes.
Nieto?
Yes.
Originally from Jamaica, lived in New York, currently in California. Uh, Former Olympian, 400 hurdles. You ever run the 400 hurdles?
I may have run the hurdles as like a PE class back in 5th or 6th grade. I don't remember.
Yeah. Don't. The 400 hurdles is a terrible, terrible race.
Yeah, I
Uh,
think I think I may if I did it, I may have been the 100-meter hurdles or the 50-meter hurdles or something like that.
okay, all right. Well, she ran for Jamaica. 400-meter hurdles was her race. Um, she's not going to hurdle tonight. She's going to be a singer. Gives us her whole her whole background. Talks about how her now husband, then boyfriend, was in an accident and paralyzed as a high jumper. But sings a song called what was it called? Through the Good and the Bad. An original song by Siobhan. What'd you think of Siobhan's singing?
Um, I thought the singing was all right. I mean, it was a very touching song that she did as an original song about her husband, but I thought the singing was just okay. It wasn't anything fantastic. It was just uh, you, an average singer that we've probably heard several times before. Um, I don't know if I have much to say about it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like the song itself didn't stick with me.
yeah.
The message is fantastic, and her husband being paralyzed in the jumping accident, and she sticks with him, and they seem like a beautiful, happy couple. It. What else could you ask for? And that's it's what they are. But Howie said, I thought that was beautiful. The song had such meaning, and you're living it. I thought it was wonderful and real and moving. Eric said that was amazing. You put a big giant smile on my face. Sophia said, I think you're beautiful. Your story is amazing. I think the song was very meaningful. Simon said, your whole story is so powerful. It really got us to know you. I love your voice, and you have a fantastic talent. Your training and hard work as an athlete will help you in the competition. So, Siobhan, she knows how to train. She knows how to work hard. She knows how to take coaching, and she, can be very, very precise. So, no surprise, 4 yeses from the judges. And as they go back to talk to Terry, they reveal, oh, and also she's pregnant. So, so there you go. Siobhan is pregnant, just to put a cap on her story.
Would you like some Siobhan Olympic stats?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay. So, as you mentioned, she ran for Jamaica, even though she was living in the U.S. She ran for Jamaica in the 2004 and 2008 Olympics.
Yes.
2008 Beijing Olympics, 2004 Athens Olympics, I think. And in 2004, in the 400-meter hurdles, she finished 28th.
Not a great showing, but
No,
28th in the world isn't bad at
no,
anything.
no. I mean, that's what you got to look at. She went to the Olympics, and that's still a pretty good achievement.
Hmm.
In 2008, she finished 17th, so she improved on
A
her.
market improvement.
Yes, but I think on the statistic chart it had an H next to it, so I'm guessing she did not make it out of the heat races.
Yeah, that would make
So,
sense.
yeah,
Um, yeah, if they do heat races and then maybe two semi, I don't know if they do those for the 400s, or if they just take like the top one or out of four heats plus the next four best times or something, and then place the rest below that. But
yeah,
um, yeah, not a name that I was familiar with. I'm a fan of track and field. I follow it. I mean, closer than most, I guess. But I wasn't familiar with Siobhan before the
yeah.
episode on Tuesday.
Now this would have been about the time that like Usain Bolt was doing his thing, so she would have been on the same team with Usain Bolt.
Hmm.
I mean, same Jamaican team. Obviously, he doesn't run the women's 400-meter hurdles, but
No,
they would be on the same Jamaican team.
right.
So,
Yeah, and there was no bigger name at the time in track and field than
yeah,
Usain Bolt. He was
yeah,
a real one of a kind, once in a lifetime kind of athlete. So
yep,
hopefully she got to rub shoulders with him a little bit.
yep. Now, unfortunately, we won't be talking. We won't be doing Olympics talk this year because they've been postponed
Yeah, I
for another
noticed.
year. So, um, AGT would normally be taking their 2-week hiatus during the Olympics
Right,
this year.
right. Maybe that's where all these extra episodes are being
Yeah,
shuffled in there. I forgot about
that's
that.
that's 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 a good point. They've got to fill 2 weeks of Olympic coverage that we'd normally be having at that time.
All right. Well, that's Siobhan. Um, I'm not sure what else she's going to bring. Excuse me. She is a uh, she's a capable singer. She's got a good story. I
Hmm.
don't know if that story is going to carry her too deep into the competition.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, next act of the night. Guy comes out on the stage. His name's Rob Messel. We don't get a video package or anything, but we do get to see him play some air guitar. His air guitar, it's got a real floppy neck on his guitar.
I was about to say, is
Uh,
that what he was doing?
his left hand, flopped around quite a bit. It wasn't great. Climbed up on the judges' table, threw some confetti. Um, uh, yeah, what'd you think of Rob?
I just labeled him. I didn't even know his name. I'm glad you're getting these names of these people. I just had him written down as Freebird guy.
Yeah, I'm looking them up on the AGT wiki fan site.
Okay.
AGT.fandom.com is where I'm going for this. So yeah, old Rob. I don't think we have much else to say about him.
No, and I didn't even realize he was doing air guitar. I think Howie kind of asked the same thing. Was he doing air guitar? Because I thought he was just dancing.
Is okay.
Yeah, I thought, dancing to Freebird. I mean, that's a long song.
It's an aggressive choice. Uh, okay, next act of the night is our 13-year-old cellist Elijah. What did you think of Elijah? Well, I guess we can say his story. What did you think of his story?
I didn't. What was his story?
He's
Remind me.
the third of 9 kids. They all play
Yes.
instruments.
Okay.
Um, he had said that he was inspired by the season 9 cello duet Emil and
Emil and
Dariel.
Daryl. Yes. Did you
Um,
did you remember Emil and Daryl?
I did
Okay.
vaguely. It'd been a while since I'd thought of them, but after he said it, I had to go back and like look up their names to remind myself who they were and what it was. So
Yeah.
yeah, they were a fun duet.
I remember that there were a duet of cellists on season 9. I didn't remember them playing.
Yeah, yeah.
So
In their family picture, we see like they've got the 9 kids together. I'm seeing like lots of violins, possibly a guitar in the back row, a cello, upright bass. His dad, I think, might have been holding a drum, but they look like more classical music players than jazz or rock or country. Seems to be what their instruments were pointing towards anyhow.
yeah, I didn't catch much from his opening package, but he did say that he knows every act.
He is a big fan.
He's a big fan. So that's more impressive than what was his name that can name all
All the
the
winners.
win? Yes. So that's more impressive than that. If you know every act, that's pretty good.
Man, I can't even keep them straight from week to week. I'm
Yeah. I don't even
if
know every act we've seen this season. So.
yeah, people aren't watching me scroll up and down through my notes here to I talk like I know what I'm talking about. I just know where to find the information and
That's
say
right.
and ah and speak slow enough to find it. He's going to play my favorite things from Sound of Music, Rodgers and Hammerstein. Starts out playing very passionately, like his eyes are closed. He's really into it. Uh, then he jumps up an octave with the cello, and he plays it with like a drum backing, and it's like hard variations on my favorite things. Um, uh, it was okay. What are your thoughts on Elijah's performance then?
He seemed like he really got into it. We don't see a whole lot of cellists on
Nope.
here, so I kind of enjoy a good cellist when we have one because we don't see him very often. We don't. What's it? Is it the group Two Cellos? Is that the?
Emil and Daryl.
No. There's another duet that's I think two cellos and a piano.
Oh man,
They
you're
they put out some famous CDs. I'm probably catching you off guard on this one, but
yeah.
I do enjoy a good cellist when we have him on here. Now I think he mentioned that this is a mini cello.
It's a smaller than concert
Okay,
size. Sure.
okay. So because I was
Well,
thinking if it's
when he started playing at 2 years old, he played a mini cello.
when he played 2 years old. Okay, because
I
yeah,
suspect the one that he's playing might be like a 3/4 size instead of a full size
full
cello.
size cello. Okay, so it's the same cello. It's just a smaller one for a smaller person.
Yes. Yep.
Okay, that makes sense. Um, but yeah, this is an interesting rendition of my favorite things that we probably haven't heard before, and he seems to really get into it. I think he can. I think he could probably have a wide range of songs that he could really play with. Um, it's interesting that it's just him, and that there's not that the rest of the family didn't come out and perform with
Yeah.
him. This really could be a family affair unless there's something going on there where they just wanted to feature him.
Yeah. Why is
Um,
he the one? That's curious. I don't
yeah,
know.
why is he the chosen one?
Right. Right. Um, yeah. As far as the entertainment value, it's there. He's fun to watch. His passion is hard to match, and he looks like he is just really enjoying the heck out of himself while he's playing. So um, that is engaging. I don't know that it's the most entertaining version of this that we've seen. Uh, it- the Pentatonics, their uh, vocal percussionist, he will beatbox and play the cello at the same time, which is a really fun thing to see. And like if Elijah can do something like that where he sings along or beatboxes along or does something on top of just play the cello, I feel like that could bring him into a next level. But right now he's just a pretty good cello player.
Is there some different things you can do with a cello that kind of makes it a little more interesting, similar to how our ukulele player kind of did what he did a couple weeks ago?
I don't see why
I mean,
not.
are there
Yeah.
different sounds you can kind of make with a cello?
If you plug it in, you can make any sound you want with it. Yeah.
Well,
It's Uh,
Are there? I guess there are electric cellos. I guess you could.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
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 There's no reason not to.
Yeah.
You could use the body of the cello as a percussion instrument, or you could uh, use your fingers to pluck the strings instead of the bow. Like there's all sorts of stuff you can do.
Okay.
I don't feel like he's really unlocked the full potential of what's there.
Yeah. Maybe he's just getting warmed up.
Um,
He's not revealing all his cards in the auditions.
yeah, yeah. And the cello is it's an interesting instrument. You compare it to our violin players, right? You go to
Yes.
Brian King Joseph or Lindsey Sterling. Like you can move around the stage, you can dance, you can duck and dive, and all that stuff. For the cello, like you're literally sitting on your butt. Like there's limits to what you can do
He,
while
he
you're
he
playing the
could
cello.
he could put a wheel on the bottom leg and kind of dance around with it, couldn't he?
Yes, now we're talking.
Okay.
That's that's where he needs to go.
Yeah, he
Uh,
needs to put a wheel on it. He needs to get with Wesley Williams later on,
there we
the
go.
one
Yep.
wheeled wonder, and put a wheel on that thing.
All right. Sophia said it was fantastic. I love how you enjoyed yourself up there. The instrument doesn't make me excited usually. Howie said the highlight for me was your face. The joy was infectious. Eric said you relaxed me into my chair with the enthusiasm in your chair. Simon said I didn't like the track, and that's good because there will be progression. There's great potential for you. You have fantastic charisma and incredible talent. So,
Yeah, yeah.
uh,
He said his parents did the backing track.
yeah, yeah, and no surprise that they had the technology and the ability to create that for him.
Right.
Sometimes just the volume is what's the problem, or just a little bit too busy. If you take it down just a notch, it really
Yeah,
can
and
change the
and,
feel. But
and that could all be on the sound booth guy.
yeah, and
I mean,
man, I feel like that's really nitpicky.
yeah, because sometimes you don't have control over that. If the guy in the sound booth is just feeling got an itchy index finger and pushes that knob up a little bit too far,
Yep, yep.
adds a little bit too much gain to that MP3 file.
Yeah. Yes. All right. So that's Elijah, our cellist. 4 yeses from the judges. I'm happy to see him go through. Uh, I feel like I say it too much, but it'll be curious to see what else he brings to the next round.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Next act of the night. You're a magic lover. Uh, so really excited to see a magic duo, Anthem and Aria. And in their video package, Arya tells us that she wanted a man who was enthusiastic about music like her, who loved roller coasters like her, and who is into all things magic and mystical. And wouldn't you know it, Anthem does love music. He is literally a card-carrying member of the Roller Coaster Enthusiasts Club of America or something like that.
Did you?
And
I'm gonna pause there. Did you know that's a real thing?
I had no idea. Well,
Okay.
I, I won't say I had no idea.
Okay.
I have never pursued it.
Okay. So when I'm gonna kind of just segue for a moment, or at least sidetrack for a moment, because
Please, yes.
I'm fascinated by this.
What else are we here for?
So that's right. So when he said this, I was thinking, did he make that up? I mean, is that a real thing? So I went out and looked, and the American Coaster Enthusiasts ACE is a real thing,
Okay.
and you can join it. There are membership fees and dues. There's membership fees for individuals and couples and families. I didn't dig far enough to figure out, well, what do you get out of it? When you sign up, what are your but yeah, they have events. They have Coaster Con.
Oh,
So
all right.
so the American Coaster Enthusiast is a real thing that you can go out and join if you love to ride roller coasters.
All right. Are you a part of any fan clubs? Do you subscribe to anything as exotic as the American Coaster Enthusiasts?
I do not. I have done Patreon. I have subscribed to a Patreon a couple of
Okay.
times, but not a whole lot. I've never really been part of a fan club that I can think of, like a music fan club or anything of that nature. I'm just trying to think back. No, not that I can think of. I pay enough money to our podcasting host that it's hard to. This is the fan club that I pay into is
Fair enough.
AGT.
Fair
So
enough. Yeah, I tend to things pretty keep my fandom more private than
yeah.
public, I guess, as well. So that's fair. Okay, so uh, uh, Anthem and Arya, they fall in love. There are a couple now. Their act, they start and they start by singing. And they sing from The Music Man. I don't have the title of it. There were bells all around, but I never heard them ringing. It goes into a really jazzy kind of version of the song. And he produces a scarf and then a rose and then there was a paper heart and there was lots of confetti, and they sort of did this magic together while they sang this jazzy version of the song together. um, what did you think of the act of Anthem and Aria?
Well, they said they were magicians, so I expected them to do magic.
Uh-huh.
I don't mind them doing singing, but I do want them to do magic when they say that they're magicians.
They did.
Okay.
Where did the scarf come from?
Yeah. So they made a scarf appear. They made a rose appear. They made a paper heart appear. Um, I think they need to go back to the Shin Lim School of Magic
Okay. All
and
right.
take a few more classes.
Fair, fair. For what it's worth, I enjoyed the heck out of these guys. I certainly would not have given them a buzzer. I don't know that I would given them a yes, but I liked. They weren't off-putting. They weren't bad.
Yeah.
Uh,
So you got to kind of. I mean, okay, is this similar to like the Demented Brothers? Were they trying to be funny, or do you think they were trying to be serious and really
I think
trying to do real magic?
they were trying to do real magic, yes, or
Okay.
you know, sleight of hand movements while they were singing, yes.
Okay.
Um, yeah, Eric said, I need more magic or some magic. Sophia said, I thought it was magic, but there was singing. Simon said it was sweet, very corny. And then he laughs and can't go on. And Howie says, well, you made someone laugh. So they don't go through, is the end of the story.
Yeah. If they were trying to be a comedy act, then I think that then they did well. Because their singing was fine. Their singing was on key. They had great harmonies, but it
Mhm.
wasn't anything spectacular. The magic was very elementary.
I think Simon called it corny, and I think that that
Yes.
might have been their intention, is to be corny,
Okay.
not necessarily funny, but corny. Pleasantly corny,
Okay.
which
Did
I
they
think
pull a?
they knocked that out of the park if that was their goal.
Okay. Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough.
Uh, yeah. All right.
Uh,
Well, that's
so at this point, also, it got me thinking that in AGT past, if a judge kind of gave criticism or feedback of any manner or this kind in this manner to an act, the act would a lot of times get very defensive. Do you remember those days?
yes. Yeah.
Yes. And it got me thinking of how long has it been since we've seen acts get defensive about their performance?
Yeah. Quite a while.
Yeah.
Um, I feel like we've seen a few that kind of push back, um, but it's definitely the exception these days.
Yes. Because this couple seemed to really take the criticism in stride.
Yep.
And they didn't take it personally um, or get defensive about it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's an interesting observation.
So
I like, yeah. Okay. Next act of the night. It's I've got them down as Jim and John, and well, I guess the sweeping crew comes out to clean up the confetti after after Aria and Anthem, and two of the guys with brooms just stay out on the stage as everybody else goes out, and surprise, it's actually the next performers, and they um, do some tricks, some balancing tricks, and some comedy, and they uh, rip their pants off and reveal some really colorful shorts underneath. And the one move that I pointed out or that I wrote down was kind of an interesting one. Was they were balancing. One guy was upside down, like shoulder to shoulder, on the other guy, with like his head in front on his chest, so you could see like both their faces from the way that
Hmm.
they were balanced together. That was a pretty cool little move.
Yeah.
Uh, Judges didn't like this act.
No, I did like the transition. I did like,
Yes,
I liked how they came out with the cleaning crew, then they stayed out and then went right into their act. That
I
was,
think
that was very unique. I don't think we've ever seen any act do that before.
this act right here is exactly why we need to have the audience, because I think the audience would have eaten that up. I think they would have, like they tune out while they're sweeping the stage, yada yada yada, and all of a sudden, the guy next to him's like, hey, look at that. I think it could have been a really, really great thing for the audience, and it's unfortunate that the judges didn't get that audience feedback on it.
Yeah, yeah. Now the performance itself was all right. Like you say, it seemed a little hokey. They did have a couple of good maneuvers. It just, I think the cuts that we got, the edit that we got for them didn't give them justice.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, Jim and John are not going to go through, and that is that it for eliminated acts, or do we have any more this week? Okay, I think that's it. So we've got Rob, our air guitarist, Anthem and Aria, our singing magic duo, and Jim and John, our balancing duo. Rank them for me. 1, 2, 3. Number one is the
So
best.
so anytime you do Freebird, that gets to the top of my list. Um,
Oh, wait. You know what? There's
oh,
another eliminated acts coming up here. Vadim, who did some like painted magic. I'm sorry.
okay, that's fine.
So
I'm still putting Rob at the top of my list because anytime you do Freebird, you automatically go to the top. So
okay. All right. Well, let's circle back to this game
okay,
after we talk about Vadim here in
T
just a
T
second.
T teaser for later.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Okay. Don't change that dial, guys. Okay. Next act then. Let's talk about Kennedy Dodds. She is a singer guitarist. Her whole family suffers from retinitis pigmentosa, which is a genetic disease, genetic problem,
Yeah.
where eye they're slowly going blind until you can't see anymore, and it's a long drawn out process of going from a sighted person to uh, a blind person, and it's.
Is is this similar to what's his name from Duo Transcend? Is this similar to his condition?
I wouldn't be surprised if it were.
Okay.
So one summer, I had the good fortune to work at a camp for kids who were blind or going blind in Malibu, California. And I remember one of the kids at like a teen camp, he had retinitis pigmentosa, and he talked to me about like, it's right now I get around fine. Like I currently have my driver's license, but it's not going to be for long. It's going to go away, and you know it's irreversible, and it is what it is, and it sucks. And so uh like I remember that, and it's like there's this thing looming over your head all the time that is just the truth for who he is. So we see Kennedy with her family, and I think her parents both have canes, or there's different amounts of sightedness that they have as the retinitis is taken hold. So um
So one thing that got me wondering is, she said that her whole family has it. Obviously both parents have it. Is it
mhm.
guaranteed that that it's going to happen to her,
I
or
don't think
is it still
so.
just with genetics that there's a possibility it could skip her?
Yeah, if it's recessive, or
Yeah.
if she happens to get the two recessive sides of it, I don't remember how those squares work, but
Yeah.
uh, it's apparently she beat the odds, is what it looks
Okay.
like. So, Kennedy, she's going to sing a song for us called "One Way Ticket to Tennessee," and this is an original by Kennedy about how she wants to, I guess, punch her ticket to Tennessee and to make it as a singer. Her little sister wanted to see her sing on the biggest stage in the world before she can't see anymore, of course. And it's just her, and it's just her guitar, no backing track, no drums, no live band. She's got a really uh, clear voice, really gentle. Excuse me, gentle when she needs to be. You can get a little bit more growly at times when the song calls for it. Really good dynamics. What did you think of Kennedy's performance?
I did like how she came out. You know, she's singing a country song. She wants to go to Nashville. She wants to go to Tennessee. She came out wearing boots. She kind of had the cowgirl dress that she was wearing. So she's really committed to this, and
Yes.
her voice even has. It doesn't sound like she's from Utah. It sounds
Yeah.
like she sounds like she is. You know, she's been singing country music for a while. She's got the natural country singing voice. I like. I did like that this was an original. It you know it's. I I didn't write. Did you write down any of the lyrics?
I didn't.
Okay.
No. One way
Um,
ticket to Tennessee.
yeah. So it kind of tells her story, similar to Siobhan, where and I think it was Howie kind of mentioned that the song is basically saying, I'm going to do this and I'm not coming back. It's I'm going out there to make it, and there's no going back.
Right.
So it sounds like something she really wants to do. And does she sing? Does she continue to sing original country songs in the next rounds, or does she go to more traditional type country songs? I mean, does she start singing Reba McEntire or Tanya Tucker, or even more modern? Uh, we heard "Redneck Woman" last week from Gretchen
Yeah.
Wilson, so it'd be interesting to kind of know if she's going to do that or stick with her original songs.
So many of these acts, like their song is part of their story, right? The America's Got Feels of it all.
Yeah.
And the song is just an extension of that story, or sort of puts a period on the end of that sentence. And are they doing themselves any favors when that is their audition? Okay, so what are you going to do for the next round?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have another story for us, or where are we going here? Because that's tough. That's tough.
Yeah, if she'd had to sing a second song, Simon made her sing a second song in auditions, what
Yeah.
would she have done?
I don't,
So,
I'm
yeah,
guessing something not original. So
yeah.
Eric said that was great. I love the notion of that song, No Looking Back. Howie said, when you perform, you transform. And this is just the beginning. Sophia said, I enjoyed it very much. I love your look. I can't wait to see what the future brings. And Simon said, you've got great style. Your voice sounds very authentic Nashville. And I think we can help you get where you want to go. So 4 yeses from the judges. What do you think? Did she sound like authentic Nashville to you?
Nashville's kind of changed in the last 10, 15, 20 years. If she doesn't make it Nashville, I know that she could probably do very well at Dollywood.
Oh, there you go.
Dolly Parton would probably would welcome her to perform it and at her park, and I think she'd do a great job there. Um, yeah, I think she's probably got a future in the music biz.
All right. All right. Um, well, that is, yeah, that's Kennedy Dodds for us. So, next act of the night, as promised, is Vadim Savinkov. He is a magician, and he comes out. He looks like a painted figure through like the makeup that he has on. It might be a mask or something.
Yeah,
Uh,
I thought he kind of looked like a comic, like a cartoon or a comic.
yeah,
Yeah,
kind of had that look to it. Like the creases in his suit were all extra dark. He looked like a painting, I guess is
yeah,
what I'm going to say.
yeah,
So, um, in his magic act, things went from looking like the real thing to a cardboard version of that thing, or vice versa. A balloon went from like a regular balloon to a cardboard balloon, and the balloon didn't have a string on it, so like he used a bottle of paint to create a string, and then the balloon popped and the string fell. I thought it was pretty good. I kind of
Yeah,
enjoyed this act. I was disappointed that we didn't get to see more of it,
yeah,
honestly.
yeah. I kind of wanted to see a little bit more too. I just guess the judges thought it was a little hokey, another corny type act. Um, it did look like it was something maybe for like a kids performance or kids show, but I actually enjoyed it. I thought it was different. It was a little original. Um,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm okay with this act. You know, it feels like he had put a lot of time and effort into the look of it. I think the quality of the magic would follow with more opportunities to do this. But uh, Howie said, "I didn't know what I was looking at. I was confused." Simon said it was more like a children's birthday party. So that's all we got. I'm assuming four noses, no, four noses, four no's from the judges. And so that is our fourth eliminated act of the night. And now we can rank our four eliminated acts. We got Vadim, our painted magician. We've got Jim and John, our balancing duo. Anthem and Aria, our singing magic duo. And Rob, our air guitarist, who you clearly are going to put as number one.
Yes. So Rob's still number one. And then I'm gonna put Vadim number two.
Okay.
And then way down is then Jim and John, and then Anthem and Arya.
Oh man, they're last of the four.
Yeah.
Man, so like the only one that was really truly not great was Rob Messel, right? Our air guitarist. Uh,
did I do it reversed? Did I do it the wrong order?
no, I think you did it just how you wanted.
Okay.
Uh, and nobody's going to hold you to what you say here, so it's okay. So I'm going to put him as the fourth of four. Um, but then we've got the singing magic duo, the magician, and the balancing duo. Um, Boy, who do I put as number one of those three? I think Vadim number one. Oh boy, Anthem and Aria. Yeah, I guess I have to put them as fourth, and Jim and John, the balancing duo, is above them. So I guess I agree with you. Minus our air guitarist, he flopped places. But
Okay. Fair enough.
all right, okay, all right. I always enjoy that game. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. If you want to listen to people talk about eliminated AGT acts, you are in the right place, folks. That's
Yeah, we still hold the world record for talking the longest about an eliminated AGT act.
all right. Well, let's not go too much longer tonight. Next act of the night, we've got Crystal Powell. She is a stand-up comedian. Talks about the different kinds of friends, the kind of friends that um, uh, have your back in different ways. Uh, I think she differentiated between her white friends and her black friends, and her white friends are pretty straightforward, and her black friends are much more what do I want to say? Much more in her face in how they talk to her. Maybe is the way to put it. So,
Direct. They're more
what's a
direct.
little more direct? What do you think of
Okay.
Crystal's set? What do you think of Crystal Powell?
Again, they just like Michael Yo, she struggled. I felt she didn't have the advantage of the audience, and I felt really bad for the two of them. It seems like they're both talented comedians who can tell a joke, and but I feel that because the audience wasn't there, it didn't help their cause much. But apparently the judges saw it differently than I did. I don't know if I would have given them no's. I just I would like okay. I would kind of give them a pass. Almost like you take a class and you get a pass fail. I wouldn't really
Yes,
give them
yeah,
an A. I'd be like you can just you get a pass and you can move on, and then we'll see how you're going to do after in the next round.
yeah, yeah.
Um, they seem like both of them seem like competent comedians. I found it interesting in her opening package. This quote kind of stuck out to me. She said, "My talent is that of a comedian." I
Yeah,
thought that was an interesting way to put that.
Now, is she just trying to find a different, funny, unique way to say I'm a comedian?
I think
You
so.
know, what are you going to do for us? Or what's your talent? My talent is,
Yeah, instead
you
of
know,
just coming out and saying
right?
I am a comedian, I
Yeah.
have a talent, and it just so happens to match up with that of a comedian.
Yeah. No, that's yeah, and I feel like she maybe parses all of her words before she speaks. And like she is very intentional about how she puts things, and
Yeah.
she is looking for a way to be as funny as possible. And
Yes.
for her, that includes responding to things in a unnecessarily garbled way.
Yeah. I did like how she used the chair on the stage as a prop.
Yeah.
Doesn't She
Yep.
doesn't just stand up. She actually uses items on the stage as props, which it can be helpful when telling some jokes.
Yep. Um, I didn't love her as a comedian. I didn't really resonate with her material. I think a lot of people will. I think a lot of people do. I could see her going, as far as the semis. I don't see her as a winner, but I think that she is. She's got a lot of potential, and this is the kind of act that a lot of people really do love.
Yeah, that's a good point. That it may have been as well that Crystal and Michael, that their jokes just didn't relate to me like some of the others did. Um, but I think it it relates to a certain audience, and I don't think that audience was me.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and if you're doing an observational comedy of something that I have never observed,
Hmm.
it unfortunately doesn't resonate. So,
Yeah. I
um,
think Preacher Lawson ran into this situation when he went on Britain's Got Talent. He
yes,
told a lot of jokes about the way Americans do things, or the way that things are done in L.A. or in New York City, and the audience there didn't understand um, the jokes because they can't relate to those situations.
yeah, yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Well, Simon said, "I love you. You are naturally funny." Howie said, "You're beautiful and funny and energetic, and you make people smile." Eric said, "I think you're great. I love your physicality. It was unique and different and awesome." Sophia said, "Super fun. You look beautiful. Your voice is great." And I think that's worth pointing out. Like her physicality, like she does use her whole body, and
Hmm.
not just facial expressions, not just the material, but she's a she performs with her whole self. So um, that's Crystal Powell, and that is the end of Eric as a judge. Uh, so if we're going to judge the judge, what do you think of Eric?
I thought Eric did a pretty good job, kind of just being thrown into the situation. So you basically had two new judges for a while with Sophia and Eric Stone Street, but they have great banter with each other. Eric seems to have great banter with everyone. I it he kind of had to get his sea legs, and once he did, I thought he did a fine job. I it, I would not be against it if he was a full time judge.
Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah.
think he brought something to the judges' table. He had good things to say. It was worth having that fourth voice. So,
Yep.
um, yep, I liked him as a judge. So, okay, next act of the night, Wesley Williams. He had been on Britain's Got Talent from the Miami, Florida area. He's a 22-year-old unicyclist who calls himself the One Wheel Wonder. Um, in his act, he was on a unicycle and he bounced down the stairs and then back up some stairs onto the judge's table where he did some jump roping. He brings out a unicycle that is unlike anything I've ever seen. That uh, so under the seat it went down a couple of feet and then over a couple of feet and then down a couple feet more. So there's like a shaft that ran horizontal to the ground that would then make the wheel go as he was able to uh, move his move his pedals back and forth at the top. So that was weird. Never seen anything like that. And then he juggled some knives, and then he climbed up on his big 20-foot tall unicycle and did a lap around the stage and climbed back down. Um, I feel a little bit like they kind of yada yada Wesley Williams, like oh yeah, this one went through, so let's show his act, and then we'll round out our episode here. So what'd you think of Wesley?
So Wesley's kind of been around the AGT block before. I don't know if you remember, he was actually on season 10.
Oh, was he?
Yes, he was. It was actually a duo at one time called the One Wheel Wonders.
Oh,
Yep. So it was a duo. It was a unicycle acrobat duo act, and they got to judge cuts and then were eliminated.
okay.
So and then he's most recently been on Britain's Got Talent. They mentioned that at the beginning.
Yeah, he was just
Uh,
15 then when he performed as on season 10, huh?
I think it says 13. This
13.
this
Oh,
says
wow.
13. I mean, yeah.
Okay.
Um, so okay. So yeah, he's most recently on Britain's Got Talent. And I'm not sure how he's doing there. He was on there in April, so I don't know if it's their production might be halted as well. I'm
Yeah,
not
who
sure.
knows?
Yeah.
Interesting.
So he's been around the AGT VGT stage. Simon's familiar with him. So yeah, like you said, they kind of just hey, uh, hey, I'm Wesley. I do unicycle. Simon's like, yep, we know who you are. Get going. And he did his act, and then they moved on.
He didn't have cancer or
No.
lose a leg in the military or have any strange thing. It just I'm a unicyclist. I'm pretty good at it. Look at me.
Yep.
Okay, all right. Well, there you go. That's the one wheel wonder, uh, Wesley Williams. I
Yeah.
pulled up the one wheel wonders
Uh-huh.
here. Yeah, season 10 of America's Got Talent eliminated before the judge cuts. So,
Yep.
um, yeah, interesting. Um, I had no idea that this was his second time around on America's Got Talent.
Yeah, so I'm not expecting much more from him than he did in season 10. He's if all he can do is just ride a unicycle, just there's not a whole lot there. And you probably remember what was it, the family that rode the unicycles,
Yeah,
Champions Forever.
champions forever. Would you believe that while I was substitute teaching here not so long ago, just months ago, Champions Forever actually visited my little town here, and I got to see them perform and spin some basketballs and ride some unicycles and do their thing.
Well, that sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was that good inspirational,
Yeah,
don't uh, believe in yourself, you can do all things, uh kind of thing that you get to see every once in a while. So
that
I actually saw Champions Forever just months ago.
that's your claim to AGT fame, Jay.
it's it's pretty tenuous. Okay. Well, hey, look, a few weeks ago we talked about if you're part of any world record, let's start a hashtag.
Yes.
Who do you know, or what's your interaction with a America's Got Talent act?
Yeah.
I'm curious if you guys would tweet at us with, uh, have you seen these? Have they been at the state fair? Have you interacted with them at all? Do you have anybody's autograph? Let me know your AGT acts that
Interaction.
you've come in interactions. Yep.
Yeah.
How
My
about
AGT interaction.
hashtag AGT interaction? Sounds
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Okay. Very good. That is a bit of a roundabout way to finish talking about Wesley Williams. And we're going to go on to the final act of the night. A gentleman named Brandon Leak. He is a high school English teacher, also counselor at his community college. In his video package, talks about his little sister, who was 4 years younger than him. Um, he, as a teenager, kind of let out his teen angst through creative writing. Now he has a 2-week-old daughter, and his passion is to turn his art into full-time work. And so he's going to do some poetry, some spoken word poetry. And the poem is an ode to his sister, who we learned through the poem had passed away, and he still carries her memory with him. Uh, what did you think of Brandon Leake's performance?
So spoken word poetry, I think they said that this was the first time that I think he's the first one to ever do something like this. But it seems like, and I have no evidence to back it up, but I just have this feeling like we've had something of this nature before, where someone's tried to come out and do poetry or some sort of inspirational type thing, teach people how to do stuff. Um, just it doesn't feel like it's the first time for some reason. I mean, we've been through a lot of AGT acts, and for this to be the first time in season 15 seems odd to me.
Yeah, yeah. And if I do a Google search for, AGT poetry or AGT spoken word poetry or anything like that, like it's all going to be uh, articles about Howie Mandel's golden buzzer, because this is what he turns into. This is Howie Mandel's golden buzzer. A spoken word poet is going through to the live rounds because Howie wants to push him right through. Um, I would have a hard time making this my golden buzzer, probably because I would have done it, ages ago on a harmonica duo or a some comedy singer or an automaton. I don't know, uh, but he had all the emotion of a great singer with the ability to enunciate and to perform it in a way that was really real to him. Um, if his goal is to bring out emotion, he's able to do that. So, uh, interesting stuff. Uh, I don't know. Additional thoughts on Brandon Leake?
Not a whole lot. I mean, yeah, like you say, it's the ability to write something out. We've had a lot of these original singers who write their own songs, but then they
Yep.
go out and sing it or perform it in some way. Um, but I will agree. I will say that doing storytelling or spoken word is a talent. I don't know if I've mentioned this, but the local university here where I graduated has a storytelling degree.
Oh
And
wow. Okay.
you can actually get a Bachelor of Arts in storytelling.
Hmm.
Um, so it is a skill. It is something that you can, I mean, like any of these other talents, it can be a natural talent or a skill that you learn. Maybe you go to school or you learn it from a parent, whatever it may be. So being able to present your your thought that you wrote down, if these singers write their songs and then sing it, well, he wrote a poem and then presented it. And it's presented differently. Songs and poetry are presented differently.
Yeah.
So you can write a poem, but if you don't present it well, then it may not be the same level that of another person that presents it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think it was a really interesting act. Really interesting that it is a golden buzzer. I
Yes.
don't hold it against Howie for making it his golden buzzer. I'm okay with it. Um, but it's like that's the surprise of the season right there for me. Is
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if he was just trying to be unique or inspirational. I don't know what his, or if he thought it was actually good and worth it to receive the golden buzzer. It definitely is unique. Um,
I think he was
well,
just moved. That's my guess.
yes, yeah. I mean, that might be it too. I mean, I just said it's definitely unique, but then I also said there's no way it can be the first time. But uh, I, I know I'm dancing around. I'm dancing around what I'm trying to say here. Um, I mean, I, I think there's others that I would have given the golden buzzer to as well. Um, I don't know if I would have given it to him.
Yeah, I think that this is the kind of act that you know uh, is fun to see them go through, and I I could imagine being a judge and sort of on the fence, like, is this something that we need to put through? Is this something like, what else is he going to give us here? But on the other hand, being like, yeah, I'm moved and this is weird, but I want to put it through. And, this might be one of those cases where we want the judges to put through that act that we don't know if they're going to go through or not.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
I think Howie was moved. He was inspired, and he wanted to, uh, he wanted to see him again. So he made it happen.
Yeah. How would the audience have reacted if there was an audience there? I mean, would they? I mean, obviously they wouldn't be jumping up and down while he's doing it. Would they just get real excited at the end, or would they
Cameraman would have
just?
found some people with leaky eyes and made sure that
I
we
guess
got some
so. I guess
tears.
so.
Yeah.
Yeah. To be honest, and I probably should have mentioned this a couple few acts ago. By the kind of back third, the last third of these acts, I was really getting disengaged from the episode.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So without the audience there, I felt the episode wasn't as engaging as what we're used to. Um, and it made me realize how much I actually miss having the audience there to react to these acts.
Hmm. Hmm. Um, yeah, if I had my choice, I would squeeze in 2 or 3 times more acts into every episode. Let's click these guys through. Let's see another one. Let's see another one. Let's see another one. And if 2 out of 3 acts go home instead of going through, I'm totally cool with that. Like that. I want to see more. I want uh, a lot less of the stories, a lot less of the feels, and let's get um, the the raw talent. Let's see it. Let's see what people are doing out there. And I feel like we're missing a lot of the um, really strange acts, the really
Yeah.
obscure, in favor of the mainstream, pretty palatable musician, singer, magician kind of acts. So I guess at the end of the day, I'm really pleased that we got a very different act. We have not seen. Uh, Maybe we've seen poets before. I'm sure we've never seen one make it past judge cuts. So I'm very pleased to have something unique like that. It, this might be, the convergence of Black Lives Matter and coronavirus and unrest and people being quarantined and yada yada yada, to really be like the time for him to be able to speak some truths, to be able to put words to our emotions. And in a perfect world, or in a unique situation like this, maybe he goes far. Maybe he really does have an audience who's ready to hear what he has to uh has to say.
Yeah. I mean, and he may have something to say, but I'm just not sure America's Got Talent is in my opinion, the platform for that. I want more entertainment in my America's Got Talent.
Yeah, yeah,
And
well,
I'm not saying what he's saying is wrong, as I'm not saying I disagree with it. I want more entertainment on my
yeah,
TV show. Yep.
yeah, and I get that, and I think that um we talk about the America's Got feels of it all,
Yeah.
and this is really pinpointing that emotion. So we'll see. We'll see if
Yep.
this is something that really, that once America has a chance to vote on it, if America gives it time, or if it's just maybe unfortunate that you know he was unable to live up to the promise. So
Yep.
man, with that, are we boy, we've gone long tonight.
We went a little long this evening. Yep.
Okay, all right. Hashtag AGT interaction. Just one interaction or interactions?
If you got more than one.
uh, ha-
Yeah.
well, what's the hashtag though? Hashtag AGT interaction.
Yeah.
Tell us who you got a high five from, or an autograph or whatever. We'd be interested to see that. Otherwise, reach out to us on Twitter at AGT Time or at Cody L. Patterson or at One Man Bander. You can also Facebook AGT Cast or agtcast@gmail.com. And we are, we're looking forward to an opportunity to interact with you guys more offline. Talk back at us sometime, huh?
Yeah, we'd really appreciate it. We'd love to hear from everyone, or as many as
Okay.
possible.
All right. With that, everybody, wash your hands. Stay safe.
Yep. Have a good night.
Bye.